just deaf, dumb and blind when it comes to who they're fraternising with?
Harry, in my view, has gone there with Meghan just to stoke up more trouble, more controversy, make sure that he's again in the headlines and in the pictures, and it's just appalling.
For Meghan and Harry, it's what they want, to ruffle a few feathers along the way.
I think this is a disgrace. This may be their worst antics so far.
They went to Kingston, Jamaica from California to attend, I believe, the opening night of the Bob Marley biopic, My Love or whatever, where they were filmed with the, I think, Jamaican Prime Minister. Jamaica, like Barbados, a place I spend a lot of time in, beginning and hoping, in their words, to get independence. Many people have jumped upon it and said, your father's ill with prostate problems, your sister-in-law's in hospital, you've trashed the monarchy, and now you're having photos taken with a leader who wants to leave, who doesn't want your father as king anymore. That's what the argument is, right?
Well, yes, it's worse than that. Of course, they are independent. You mean they want to become a republic?
Yeah.
But worse than that is that when William and Kate visited Jamaica the year before last, they were humiliated by the Prime Minister on TV in a deliberate snub. And that was an appalling thing to do to the British monarchy and to the Cambridges. And Harry, in my view, has gone there with Meghan just to stoke up more trouble, more controversy, make sure that he's again in the headlines and in the pictures. And it's just appalling how the Sussexes capitalise constantly on their royal status to undermine the monarchy from which they're earning their living.
Can they do anything right, Tom?
Well, the best thing to do right would be to shut up and go away, give up their titles and earn an honest living.
There has been a lot of argument online and in newspapers here that it is now time for the king to, you know, we've heard it again and again, get rid of their titles. Is that ever likely to happen, though, seriously, Tom Bower?
I don't think by the current king. I think that he feels far too guilty because of what we discussed earlier about the whole problem with Camilla to take the proper course of action against Harry and Meghan. Perhaps William will. The real problem is that they just go on and on and on, thrusting themselves into our lives by finding places and venues and causes which undermine British monarchy.
I think this is a disgrace. This may be their worst antics so far. Harry and Meghan have flown down to Kingston in Jamaica for the premiere of a film about Bob Marley, of course, Jamaica's famous son, the legendary reggae singer. It's called One Love. I mean, you know, it's hardly the most eagerly awaited film of the year. If you give it another week, it'll be on Netflix, probably. So they've gone down for the premiere of this film. Harry tells the Prime Minister of Jamaica, a guy called Andrew Holness, I just had to be here.
I just had to be
I had to be here. Well, actually, Harry, here's the truth. You absolutely did not have to be there. So why are this pair, the gruesome twosome from Montecito, rubbing shoulders with a Prime Minister whose avowed intent is to sever all links with the UK? He said we need to move on from the British monarchy. He doesn't like the Commonwealth. Now, not so long ago, Harry was the president of his mother's Commonwealth, his grandmother's Commonwealth Trust. Now, you know, the Commonwealth, I think, is in many ways a bit of an anachronism, but there are many states who belong to it voluntarily, and it was much beloved, much cherished by Her Majesty. And for Harry and Meghan to be hanging around with a guy who hates the Commonwealth, who hates the British royal family, I think serious questions have got to be asked.
Right.
Why did he have to be there? He didn't. I think he wants to send a message that, just like Andrew Holness, he's not too keen on the British monarchy either.
Well, look, we know why Harry had to be there, because he ran out of materials for his magic pipe. That's why he was on the first flight
just a joke,
out.
folks.
But the thing is about Harry, he's a bit dumb, isn't he? I kind of think that he just doesn't...
There is that.
Be there's a photo opportunity and it's peace and one love and it's all racial things and I'm really into racial things now. The person who's a schemer is that Meghan Markle. She knows what she's doing and she knows full well that Jamaica's been agitating against Britain, agitating for reparations, agitating for everything on the drop-down menu of left-wing causes for the erasure of history and all the rest of it. And so she had to be there. Absolutely she did. She's not been anywhere, has she? Harry's been going on to these Dumbo award ceremonies, like the ginger Egypt that he is. And she's been hiding away in her grotto looking after supposedly sick children, wondering how she's going to make a bob or two. And suddenly sees an opportunity to throw a knife at the royal family again. So she's there.
Now, I've got nothing against Holness, the Prime Minister, and his stance. He wants his country to be independent. He doesn't want it to be kowtowing to the British royal family and so on. Absolutely. Why not? That's his decision. That's the way he thinks his country should move forward democratically. So I'm not criticising him, but what on earth is Prince Harry doing, rubbing shoulders with this guy whose avowed intent is to get away from the royal family and to sever all links with a country he clearly does not like. That's the United Kingdom. This is very, very strange what they're doing.
It's an intriguing image, isn't it? Because here's Harry and Meghan, who've cut ties with the British monarchy, posing for photographs with a leader, a prime minister, who wants to do just that.
I mean, firstly, I don't think anybody has any problem if Jamaica wants to say that it wants to get rid of the head of state. It's up to them to decide. And I think, I think the king and the rest of the royal family will, everyone will respect what Jamaica says. But this, this visit, it troubles me. Duke and Duchess of Sussex going there because it can be looked at as clumsy because it's a diplomatic incident, really. It could be looked at clumsy as they just have gone in and posed with people who are trying to oust Harry's father as their head of state, but also it could be seen as provocative because we had William and Catherine. They were literally ambushed out there by Andrew Holness when he met them in a meet and greet and said, "We're now ready to move on." There was people's mouths were dropped when that happened. And
I mean, that whole tour really was disastrous for them.
Yeah,
it was,
but they were ambushed by these issues and they weren't ready and prepared for it. It was really quite awkward. And we've got the king in hospital, ready to go into hospital, and Kate ready to go into hospital, and they're having to read about, Harry and Meghan with two politicians who want them, the two politicians he met that they want to, kick out of they want to kick the king out. So
yeah, it was the Minister for Legal and Constitutional Affairs whose job is to.
Her sole job is to do that, and she's going to bring a bill in April. And I wondered whether Harry cares, whether they just don't care, that they thought they were just going for a red carpet events to kind of sell themselves. He said he had to be there. Now, this is what worries me about Harry and Meghan, is that while they're not in the royal family, while they don't have a private secretary, or they're not clued into kind of the government and the royal family, that they could end up with worse diplomatic incidents, meeting people that they shouldn't be, being pictured with people who they shouldn't be, and finding themselves in hot water. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have been with these two politicians. I'm just saying that this is in the future, I'm concerned about who they're going to be hanging around with if the royal family aren't keeping an eye on them.
Are they just deaf, dumb and blind when it comes to who they're fraternising with? Or do you think there was an edge of malice by going somewhere and getting their selfies done with people who, frankly, don't seem to like the royal family?
They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. This suits their optics, seem to be going out there. They know it will create controversy. It's as simple as that. Harry saying he had to be there. Well, yes, it may be a great film, and Bob Marley is a much revered character by many people for what he did for his country. Now, clearly, though, there is the optics of Jamaica looking to do what Barbados does and sever their links with the crown. And there's nothing strange about that. Bearing in mind that William and Kate's visit to Jamaica, the optics weren't brilliant for that visit, and certainly lessons have been learned. But this, in a more informal case, seems that Meghan and Harry once again are looking for a photograph. Whereas I have to say, his aviation award didn't get all the right sort of headlines and didn't really attract much publicity. But this clearly has, and for Meghan and Harry, it's what they want, to ruffle a few feathers along the way.
When I first read it, I thought, oh, God, they're just out for a night at a film thing. But And I thought, do you know what, actually? I mean, there's no way you wouldn't realise there's a bit of a diary clash on this one. You're going to that one place where the leader has been very, very overt and very explicit about his Republican desires. At the same time, your old man, the king, the head of state of that country, is in hospital. I think it's a bit tactless. I don't think they should be in jail for it. I just don't think it's a great
look,
look.
it's very clumsy and very,
isn't it?
Very crass. I mean, how many well-paid PR advisors do that couple have? Surely, at the very minimum, if I was their researcher, I'd have given them a little briefing note about Jamaica. And the first time I Googled Kings, Queens, Jamaica, I would have found a little bit of YouTube footage which would have shown that extremely awkward moment where that guy basically humiliated our king-to-be, Prince William as he was at that time. And I would have said, guys, maybe this is perhaps not the best idea to actually make
but
this
Isabel,
one
you sound like you think it was an accident.
No,
as in it was stupidity rather than a deliberate.
No, what I'm
eye.
saying is that they must have had that briefing note,
Yes.
so they decided to do it anyway.
But they were, if I remember correctly, they were president and vice president of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust.
They were.
So
Youth
what does it say about his relationship with his late grandmother? Because the Commonwealth was really important to her. 56 member states. She pretty much built the Commonwealth. It's a third of the world's population. And here's the grandson single-handedly destroying it. I think it just says that they are now a massive liability.
But maybe he was trying to smooth over some of those ruffled feathers.
You think that's what he was? I mean,
I'm being devil's advocate. Maybe
really
he wasn't saying
retrievable, though.
leave the Commonwealth. Maybe he was saying please stay in the Commonwealth.
It's not really retrievable.
The more we're talking about this, JJ, I think this was on purpose. But remember, the previous two royals that were there were the arch nemesis of the two royals that are there now, and that cannot have escaped their notice when they ticked yes on the invite.